You said that.
I know, but also hate that it's happening.
It's not happening anymore.
Oh, right, because there's no more kids in cages.
No, there's migrants and overflow facilities.
You're
They're
right.
figuring it out. This is a lot better. You just don't understand.
It's great accomplishment in less than 100 days. You should be appreciative.
You just don't get it. It's actually a lot different. You can tell because, like, you know, AOC's not there crying. You know, if it was bad, she'd be there crying.
I just saw a picture someone posted of her taking a selfie in front of the cages.
A selfie.
It was
during
photoshopped, but
okay. But
it looked pretty good.
But I mean, yeah, under the last administration, when this was a big deal in the headlines and everything, and there's a lot of outrage that the progressives, so-called, in Congress were making like a big deal about it. And I just don't hear a lot of them really saying that much to Biden about it now.
You know how I feel about progressives in Congress, so anyway,
that there aren't any.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Weird.
So, this is a podcast called At Your Expense.
Yeah, this is I'm
I'm Kat. This is Trevor.
Yeah, this is Trevor.
And we have socials now, guys, and we need followers bad.
Oh yeah, we're trying to get this up and running at this point. We have the other 2 episodes out that are like fucking, months in between each other.
Okay, it's been rough.
I mean, we haven't now we're like really going to be starting actually getting shit out to y'all.
We've decided this is viable.
Did we?
No, but we're going for it.
But we're just going to keep doing it. And we have some people we want to have on soon and everything, so we'll have an assortment of episodes out without too much time in between.
We want you guys to follow us. We want to hear from you. We want you to submit questions or start a conversation with us.
I'm just gonna come in right. I don't give a fuck, honestly.
Okay, he's lying.
If
do you know how happy it would make this man to see someone? Bring.
I don't know.
Wow, great podcast. I don't know why he's lying to the
actually,
good people.
Do not reach out
Trevor,
to me.
I loved your opinion on Syria. You know what? You really opened my eyes, and I didn't realize what was going on.
How would that happen?
What do you mean? Because we have socials, which I'm about to plug. They're gonna comment on what they hear.
I'm just saying.
No, I just don't know why you told people not to ask us questions. That's all.
Don't fucking ask me anything.
Okay, well, you can ask me, and you can even ask for things that you want us to talk about or whatever. Okay, so Twitter @yourexpense_, Instagram @yourexpense_pod, Trevor Hush, YouTube @yourexpense_podcast. You can also email us if you are of the older variety of fan and just don't do a social thing. That's okay. We have an email address @yourexpense@protonmail.com. Please send us messages. It goes straight to my inbox. Trevor will not see it because he is grumpy and mean.
Wow, you might as well just give him your fucking address at this point. It was like every. No.
Anyway, so we did get a request already for something to talk about. The COVID attitude in the era where vaccines will eventually become available for all people, so to speak. What's it going to be like when people have no excuse, supposedly, we are assuming that you've got access to a place with a vaccine and so on and so forth, but where they're free, they're plentiful, they're being pushed to everyone to get one. What's it going to be like morality wise if people choose not to get one?
I mean, we know there's a certain percentage of people, especially in our great state of Texas, that are going to absolutely refuse to get the vaccination even when it's available to all adults. Do I fault them for this? You know what? If you really believe the shit they claim to believe about what the vaccines are going to do to people, then yeah, don't get one.
I'm going to take...
I don't know. If you really think it's a fucking microchip, then, I would think you're stupid to get one if you actually believe that. So, but I mean, some of these people who think the dumbest shit about the vaccines will probably still end up getting them just because they, want to go to the bar or something. You know what I mean? It's or they're I want to be able to be out in public and, not ever have to wear a mask, which you already don't here now, but...
For anyone who's not aware, we are a podcast based in Houston, Texas. Yes, in Texas, our governor decided that we didn't need masks anymore. Not sure where that came from. It surely wasn't the CDC or any kind of scientific evidence, but lo and behold, there are people now not wearing masks. I think a lot still are. That's very good. I hope that continues to happen. No, Trev? Just no?
No, they're not. And you know, if they are, they're just doing it to like to before they walk in somewhere and they immediately take it off or some shit. It's
been that way. I mean,
yeah, I mean it's
you know, we don't have over 500,000 dead for nothing in this country.
Well, what I'm thinking is that there's an amount of people who don't want the vaccine, who really believe some wild QAnon shit about the vaccine or whatever the fuck, but they're still gonna actually end up taking it, I think, because you're gonna be required to for a lot of stuff, you know, basically for a lot of people to even return to work, to kind of.
Do you think that is what will happen? Is that like you can't work here or apply here or go to school here, or et cetera, if you don't have the vaccine?
I mean, that's how vaccines work now.
I think we were talking earlier about how there's some like exemptions
you can opt
to
out
vaccines.
Of some, yeah.
And a lot of people do.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I don't know how effective that would be, or if it would influence people to get them. Like a lot of people don't get flu shots.
Yeah.
And it's true they can't do some things, but I don't think it hasn't resulted in everyone getting a flu shot. That's for sure.
I honestly don't know what kind of what the numbers will be of like the amount of people who just
don't
decide I will not get this vaccine no matter what. But yeah, there's definitely going to be a good chunk of people who feel that way, and that's their fucking God-given right. Honestly,
while I do applaud your like right to have a belief about like the microchips and things, I think there is an argument to be made for people, especially people of color, who have historically been lied to by the medical profession and in our government and just historically.
Well, I mean, I would say they talk about like, oh yeah, black people would probably be the group of people who are most skeptical of the vaccines and stuff. I guess maybe there's data showing that or something. I don't know. We have heard that though, basically. And I know it's because of just the history of like things like Tuskegee and stuff, where they're like, you know, basically like fucking we're experimenting on people, giving them syphilis, like trying to figure out the vaccine or whatever, just like letting people die. And when there's that kind of...
There's been a lot of like medical, just disinformation amongst like training doctors about like the like bodies of like black people and like how they can accept like a higher pain tolerance, for example. And it's really led to a lot of skepticism, rightly so, in my opinion, of just healthcare in general, and distrust in your government. That's another layer. So I think that's something to...
Well, I mean, like medicine has like been very racist for a lot of a lot of its history. I mean, it's like, you know, like a lot of old medical text or anything that you can look at, you know, before a certain time period is just really, it's absolutely racist.
And it's like, just wrong. It's just like flat out wrong.
It's just like, you know, and this isn't that old. Like, it's not as old as like, oh, like when they fucking, you know, were like amputating people because they didn't know how to, you know, fucking like do anything else. Like, this isn't that old.
No, this is like fairly recent. So can we fault people for not trusting? I want to say no. I know that it's difficult because it does help to get vaccinated. Obviously, it helps save lives for other people and yourself.
I feel like the worst thing to do is like shame people about being skeptical.
Right. I would never.
Because it's like, I'm fucking, why not?
I mean, I'm skeptical. I'm a white woman. Like, I'm still a little skeptical. Not that I'm not going to do it, but like, I can especially see that for someone like a person of color, someone who's got a much harder history medically than I have.
It definitely, you know, paints a picture of like, oh, well, they don't seem to have much, like, you know, they don't seem to really value the life of some people in this country. So,
right.
Like,
so why trust my body to these?
Who knows? Yeah.
This establishment. Nah. I don't fault anyone for that. I really don't. And that's sad. And that's very sad because people's lives will be at risk, and it's not the people's fault. It's the institution's faults, and that's very, very sad. So medical related, I think Medicare is being pushed again.
Okay, so what I've heard about this is basically that Biden's trying to push for some kind of like another big spending bill that hope be like some kind of infrastructure bill, supposedly something like that. I know that they want Bernie is pushing to get basically he's pushing to get the Medicare age lowered, and he wants to get that in whatever next bit like big bill or whatever's going to come out, and they want to pass it through budget reconciliation like they did the last time. But remember, you can only do that like a couple times a year, or so essentially he's talking right now about like whatever this next big spending bill is. I want to put in there a lowering of the Medicare age. But the way he said this was we want to lower the Medicare age to 55 or 60. And I just think that's a really weak starting point, right? That's not how you
That's not very far.
How you negotiate
you
either.
need to start high so that you come back in the middle somewhere, right?
Saying I want to reduce it by 5 years is like nothing, because then they can go just no. I mean, like that's
not big enough of a difference to even like
you're not giving them any, like, I don't know, there's nothing there there's no negotiating there. Like
you have to make them feel like they won a little bit, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, like, and that's the problem with like really most people on the left of the Democratic Party. It's like the strategy is like, oh, well, we'll just fucking go in there and be like, hey, this is kind of what we want. And not, you can't do that. You have to play hardball. You have to be like, you have to go way further than where you're going to end up. Because you know that, like, you negotiate down. You ask for something more than you think you're going to get. So the fact that he's like 55 or 60, I just think is weak. I don't know.
Did he at all think that, like, by asking for very little, they would just pass it? Do you think that was his strategy? It's like they have this other stuff in the bill that they want unrelated, and they're like, look, I'm asking for just a little tiny bit, so they'll probably pass it.
All they could do is just say fuck off. I mean, unless he does what they should have done the entire time, what they should have done from the last bill for the $15 minimum wage, what they should have done during Pelosi's confirmation as speaker, like what they should have done then, which is be like, we're not going to vote for this unless you do what we say, and we'll fucking hold up the bill. We don't care. Like, he has to be willing to do that, or they're not going to do it.
Why are they avoiding this?
I don't know, because this is just like,
what is that?
I don't get it. It's like they've even articulated that strategy before.
Right.
And that's just politics. That is how you get things. That's how you do.
That's the point of this system.
That's how
honestly.
That's how Joe Manchin flexes his fucking muscle to all these motherfuckers. Like he doesn't. He shouldn't have as much influence as he does, but it's because he's willing to go, well, I'm not going to vote for it if it's not this. And no one else is willing to do that. Like, what the fuck?
The only thing I can think of is someone who pays their campaign finances are like,
No, I don't even think that's the case for some of these, like progressives, squad people. Like, I don't think that's really the case, because I don't think they're compromised like by money in that way or anything, or by donors. I think they're compromised by their own ambitions and wanting to stay in there and wanting to have influence and wanting to do this and that, and they don't want to be smeared and painted like a villain who's not letting the bill pass and stuff. They're just not willing to bear the brunt of that, like, criticism and, attention, like negative attention, for being the ones that would hold up the bill. But
was it not AOC who said, I'd rather have one term and get stuff done than come back and like give in?
Yeah.
But we don't see that at all from her.
Yeah, everybody will tell you it's a long-term strategy. Just give her time. Like, just give her time.
What the hell? What do you mean?
I just don't know. Yeah.
I truly don't get it. I mean,
I do.
I mean, it's like you said, they want to stay in office. They think that they are doing more there than they would be not there. Yeah. But I don't see that happening.
They think
they're doing nothing.
I think they think they have more influence, kind of
rallying
playing
troops
along
on Twitter
and like going along with it, but just trying to get people in their corner, but not going
far enough,
as far as they need to. But they think that that's an effective strategy now. I guess they think that. I don't. It's obviously not.
I literally don't see an effect coming from it. It just, nothing's happened. So we'll see.
We'll see.
Related to Medicare, did I tell you I bought a red beret from
No.
Whole Washington?
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's like a subgroup, red berets for Medicare, and they hand knit these red berets.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and like a free T-shirt came with it, and you donate, and they're working on like Medicare for all in Washington, and then obviously expanding out to the rest of the country. But they're a really cool group. They're part of MPP actually. It just got brought on to advise MPP.
Oh, really?
On like Medicare for all strategies and stuff. So
wow.
it's pretty cool.
That is really cool.
I can't wait to get it. It looks really cute. And on the national call for MPP, like they had the lady who knits them like talk and like just explain like what Whole Washington does, and she's so freaking cool and sweet. And so like I added her on Twitter, and like we like went back and forth for a long time, just having like the most wholesome exchange of like, wow, like this is great, like we can do it. It was really cool. She was explaining how like every dollar of donation buys a certain amount of like wet signatures on a petition for Whole Washington.
Oh, wow.
For Medicare for all. So it's like you give $30 and that's like, I don't know the math, a whole bunch of signatures that they can go out and collect. It's really cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
So just we'll address you talking about
Oh,
MPP
God.
and
Okay.
talking about being on the call. Like obviously, we're both interested in it. When they had the convention, I was very, very interested in it. Love a lot of the people who were involved. I was excited when like Chris Hedges, Cornel West, other people like that I really respect that were speaking at the convention, and this seemed like a real possibility for a new party that was outside, of the two corporate parties, and maybe something a little different than the Green Party, which is viewed as probably too leftist by other working class people who just don't share exactly the same views yet, but they just don't understand probably, and maybe it's just the messaging. So just thinking about it in like a messaging way, like, oh, okay, this would be something that could galvanize like more support from working people, who maybe don't identify as leftist. And, I actually really, I still even have hope for it, but it, more recently you've been on some of the calls, like starting to think about volunteering and doing things like that. And I have to bring up, what I called you about the other night, which is I saw this fucking cringy post from Movement for a People's Party. So I scrolling through Instagram and I see a movement, I see a post by Movement for a People's Party, and it is a picture of people at a protest, presumably like a Black Lives Matter protest. There's people on all sides of him, like holding signs. I don't remember exactly what the sign said, but it looked like it was like a protest about police brutality. And there's a cop, just this fucking fat white cop in the middle, just looking fucking goofy as shit, looking to the camera, giving a peace sign, saying, "Oh, I'm on your side. I'm one of you. I'm with it." And then fucking the text on it was like, "Make cops peace officers again." And I just lost it. I was like, okay, what the hell is this? Like, what kind of messaging is this? I really don't get it. This is not even something. If you're gonna address it in that way, then don't even because
It's not needed right
because there were nothing but negative comments from people who probably supported the party and the idea of the party before they saw that fucking post. And it's like something that's been as big of an issue as policing and police brutality and just the institution and culture of policing, and how how people are talking about changing that, taking away funding and resources from these departments that have way too many, and for them to kind of take the commentary of like, well, we just need more cops that are like not exactly following all of their orders. Like, that's basically what they're saying. Like, we just need more cops who are cool enough to fucking not beat protesters up. Like, I don't understand this. It makes no sense. They're not talking about any kind. It's just a bad post. It looks so lame, and Yeah, honestly, I feel like a lot of people will see that, and I don't think it would get anybody else either. I don't think that anybody, on the other side of this issue is going to see that and be like, "Oh yeah, that's what I want." No,
No
like,
one wants that. It doesn't help anybody, but maybe like a very liberal take, I guess. If it was like, well, not all cops are bad, I guess it would be those people, but those people honestly have other issues going on.
Yeah, and I just it's literally getting away from the main argument about all of this, which is the fact that police do too much. Their jobs are too
Involved,
expansive.
and
There's too many responsibilities they have to deal with stressful situations that a lot of citizens are in that do not need to be addressed by someone pointing a gun at them.
Right.
And it's like the main thing that people are talking about is divesting from policing and putting money into things that would actually help people at the root, and to make sure that we're putting money into communities that would actually help people in terms of like mental health and in other capacities that would reduce crime in a way that
they're trained to handle.
Yeah.
That cops are not trained to handle. Yeah.
Yeah, like so, and they could have made a post. They could have made a post that was like, divest from policing, invest in rebuilding our communities, or invest in mental health, or talking about giving some of the responsibilities of police to like social workers and other professionals who don't, respond with violence to situations. But why take this angle? And
now, wasn't there a second post the next day?
They didn't. Yeah, that's the
and
worst part.
Do you remember what that one said?
They didn't do it once. They did it. So after this post that had nothing but negative comments from people who probably supported them, and after all of that, really critical feedback that people gave, most of it just being like, fuck off. Like, when the hell?
They're like, guys, this isn't the take. This isn't the way.
Yeah,
like, hey, I believe in y'all, but this is like totally left field for y'all. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, they're like, this is not at all what I thought I was signing up for when I wanted to get involved with a people's party. I did not think that y'all would be doing propaganda on your Instagram page.
Right, and I think they were as appalled by these posts as I was and confused, because nothing in their platform relates to what they wrote in that post. I typed out the platform, and I'm just going to quickly go through all the places where it says police, and I'm just going to give you some of their takes, okay? So on the platform, they believe in demilitarizing police by banning and reversing military weapons.
Yeah, and it did say that on the post too. It said demilitarize law enforcement, which is like, okay, yeah,
that part's good.
Of course,
Very
we need
good.
to do that.
But again, not the root of the problem, right? So next it says employ special prosecutors for all police killings, okay? Reallocate funds from police to ailing schools and social services.
Okay, those are the things you make a post about.
Mm-hmm.
That's the post.
They say create new laws for the allowable use of force for police. Now, that is an interesting take. So as far as police goes, there is abolition and there is reform, but there's also reforms that lead to abolition in the future, right? So when you create new laws for allowable use of force for police, you are still saying, okay, we're going to have police, but let's change the way that they do things. And that might be the strategy that we take for now. And I'm fine with that. And so that doesn't bother me. I think that's needed because that's where we are right now, right? It says eradicate the systemic failure and structural forces in American society which perpetuate higher rates of shootings and murder by police and incarceration than any other racial group. Okay, so that's fine, right? The only other thing that I am possibly confused about, but I think we talked about it and figured it out, it says promote community policing. Now, when I first read that, I thought they meant, put more police in the neighborhoods where they live, right?
I don't think that's what they mean.
Now, I agree with you. I think that they're talking about like a restorative justice model where communities are in charge of kind of fixing issues between community members, right? Which is very good.
Now, they should be more clear about that.
Yes,
obviously.
they should.
But again, like
none of that,
yeah,
though.
what you're reading on the platform, a lot of those things would make good posts, honestly.
That's why I'm so confused.
Especially the thing about taking money from police
Yes.
departments and investing it in schools and things that would actually help people
prevent crime instead of just dealing with it after it's already happened, right?
Yes, and a post like that would be
phenomenal.
I think respected by most people.
Yeah.
And I don't see this corny, just hacky like oh look, the cops are kneeling with you.
It was kind of like the worst thing you could post.
Because I hated that over a year ago, like during the protest, when there was all these like pictures coming out of like cops hugging people and blah blah blah, and it's like, okay, cool.
That
like,
doesn't change what happens on a daily basis.
Exactly.
That's not going to bring anyone back from the dead who
Yeah.
was shot before they had a chance to like
exactly
explain anything or.
And just the fact that like these protests are like about police. Like I don't need.
It doesn't help that the police are there saying, yes, there's something wrong, but I'm not going to do anything to fix it. I'm going to continue to help perpetuate the problem. Like that's kind of worse.
They're like, yeah, we're with you. This
yeah,
police
cops
shit's bad.
suck, except not me and not my friends and not my department and not my city. What the fuck?
I don't know. Just seeing them stoop to that level of
here's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that there was a miscommunication somewhere. I know that they have a team that makes graphics and does social media. I hope this is not representative of MPP as a whole. I think this was maybe just something that flew under the radar and someone was very confused. Now, do keep in mind that people in MPP, they try to run it as democratically as possible. So you've got people of all different views and backgrounds in volunteering and making things like graphics and posting to social media. So just remember that to sacrifice as much hierarchy as possible, you are going to have people giving their 2 cents wherever possible. And then that's kind of the point of the party. So I hope that this is not reflective of the entire party as a whole, because it does not match at all what the platform says in several places. I am still going to support them for now, but I'm also going to, as I continue on my volunteer trek, ask these questions. Who's in charge of social media, making graphics? Where do their views lie? Is this something that's representative of everyone in the party? Is this where, how does this compare to the platform? What's our goal here? And I think that's the best that we can do right now. I still think this is better than any other option we've got right now. But I do reserve the right to change my mind at any time, depending on where this goes.
I mean, I would say in terms of like messaging that really resonates with me and things that I like, I still think that, like, obviously, like, I think I identify more and am more, like, compelled to, like, be supportive of the Green Party because they're absolutely exactly what I want in a party. But it's like, the point of a major new party, like a people's party, is that, like, that's a leftist party. And it's not going to get a lot of people into it. And, I mean, like, it's made for me to like. Like, you know
exactly.
What I mean? Of course
it's curated to you.
Yeah, of
but
course
that's
I
not
love
how we
it.
win votes, right? We need to reach out to a big broad spectrum of people on both sides.
But then is that just educating people though about what those like terms mean and what it means, to support a party that is eco-socialist? Like, is it incumbent on us?
How far has that gotten us in a decade?
Well, I don't know if
Hasn't
there's
the Green Party been around for like 30 years? Guys,
yeah, it's
love them. I've said it once, say it again till I die. Love the Green Party, but it's not working.
Yeah, I would love to have someone from the Green Party on and talk with them about like strategy and like what they feel like they could be doing, and if another major new party is needed. I don't know.
If anything, MPP existing could push them to change some things and they might actually get somewhere. That would be cool. I would be just as happy with that outcome. If MPP being in existence pushed the Green Party to change anything about their strategy that got them any further than they are now, I still count that as a major win. That'd be great. I'd love that.
Yeah.
So still supporting it. I think it's good for multiple reasons. I'm glad it exists. Does it need help? It's brand new. Of course. Does it need some organizing? Yeah. Can we help do that? Yes, we can.
Just after I saw that first post, I was so bummed. I was like, this is
what's the second one?
So dumb. And then I had to call you back and be like, okay, it's worse than I thought. They made another one of these dumbass posts, less than a day after all the comments are obviously people being critical of it, being like, why did you post this?
That's what I think. Like, maybe it was just like set to come out at a certain time and like no one read the comments. Like, I don't think just whoever's in charge of this part needs to be caught up because it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
it's not logical.
I'm just, anything, any account, any organization that posts a picture of cops in riot gear kneeling with protesters, like that's, something to appreciate. No,
It just,
fuck off.
again,
I cannot.
It
I
does
cannot.
not address the root of the problem of policing at all. It doesn't make a difference to say, hey, cops should change nothing except allow us to protest after the fact. That doesn't change that it occurred.
Yeah, and so this post says, "Dear law enforcement officers, please resist the trap of just following orders." And up there, it shows some I think it's like SS people. It's like, it's like some Nazi shit.
It's like,
And there's people, it's the Nuremberg trials. And then the picture below is a cop in riot gear, several cops in riot gear, kneeling with protesters. And it says, #refuse to shoot and refuse to arrest peaceful protesters. So basically, this is just saying, like,
I guess this is like respect protester rights is what this is actually addressing.
But I mean,
not policing.
Wouldn't it be more effective to talk about like how we should change laws that protect protesters' rights or something like that, or be pushing for some kind of like policy change that protects protesters in a way other than just saying
appealing to cops?
Yeah, appealing to cops and being like, hey guys, just don't listen to what they tell you to do. Don't do your job completely today.
What if this is appealing?
What the fuck?
But wait, what if this is appealing to people on the other side who maybe are cops or have family members who are cops and do believe that not all cops are bad? And what if this is appealing to them, saying, hey, we know that you're human, and like if you have to have this job while it exists anyway, at least do the right thing and not just follow orders? What if that is the strategy here? Not that it's a good one, but is that where they're coming from?
I think so.
It has to be.
And it's a garbage strategy.
Yes, I agree.
I agree. It's fucking
but
bad.
At least it makes a little more sense in my head now, because I was truly at a loss.
Speaking of cops, Kamala
Harris, border cop.
I got killers on standby, I got lawyers on go. Let's go. I get mine out the trap, I ain't order no phone. Crib off the water, get protected by border patrol. Back from overseas.
Kamala Harris, border cop. She's gonna have a fucking field day with these cages. She loves cage. She's a fucking cage connoisseur. Her whole life, she's been putting people in cool, different kind of interesting cages. Some bigger ones, some smaller ones, some ones for children, some ones for parents of children who might have skipped school that day. Just lots of cool different cages.
If you even looked at a piece of weed, you're in a cage.
Yeah. So this is honestly, it makes the most sense. It's the best idea.
All
Who
right.
knows more about cages than Kamala?
Let me break this down for
Almost
anyone
no one.
unaware. Okay, so there was a C-SPAN brief. Biden said recently that Harris would run point on handling the migrant crisis. He said, I can think of nobody who is better qualified to do this. Biden said Harris was qualified for the job because of her record fighting organized crime and defending human rights. Wow.
Hey.
The president asked the vice president to take on the diplomatic effort with Mexico and countries in the Northern Triangle to address the root causes of migration. There are many reasons that move these folks to make this dangerous journey. Just for context, Biden was explaining migration and the reason why so many people were leaving, we learned, was that not only gang violence and trafficking and cartels, but natural disasters, hurricanes, floods, and earthquakes.
Yeah. Let's just not mention all of the fucking military interventions that the U.S. has done in Latin America over the past several decades, and how we've basically done just, straight up coups in several countries, just armed fucking opposition groups that just killed tons of indigenous people in different countries. Let's just forget about all that and just let's just focus on the earthquakes. People are leaving because there's floods and there's earthquakes. What the fuck?
Right. We didn't destroy their country, take all their resources, make living conditions unbearable.
Yeah,
set up horrible governments that didn't take care of people's basic needs.
And Biden has no idea about any of that because he definitely wasn't a senator during a lot of that. He definitely, he must not have been briefed. I don't know.
God, I was thinking this whole man's life is just being a horrible human being. He's been in politics his whole life.
Also, I would implore anybody who wants to know how Biden has felt at different times about immigration and people at the border to check out some old videos of him just basically saying the most dehumanizing, horrible things about immigrants that you could think of. Things that Trump would have gotten a lot of shit for saying, like, last administration. Like, Biden was saying these things way before.
I voted for a fence. I voted, unlike most Democrats, and some of you won't like it, I voted for 700-mile fence. But let me tell you, we can build a fence 40 stories high, unless it changes the dynamic in Mexico. And you will not like this, and punish American employers who knowingly violate the law when, in fact, they hire illegals. Unless you do those two things, all the rest is window dressing. Now, I know I'm not supposed to say it that bluntly, but they're the facts. They're the facts. And so everything else we do is in between here. Everything else we do is at the margins. The reason why why I believe the fence is needed is not related to immigration as much as to drugs. I'm the guy that wrote the National Crime Bill. I'm the guy that wrote the National Drug Track. I'm the guy that wrote the law that set up a drug czar. But let me tell you something, folks. People are driving across that border with tons, hear me, tons of everything from byproducts from methamphetamine to cocaine to heroin. It's all coming up through corrupt Mexico.
So to think that he just has had this change of heart, and now he's just this nice old man who wants to help anyone at the border. I mean, we obviously know that's not true because of his actions right now, but also just the rhetoric of that and them trying to paint him as that is crazy. It's like he has literally crafted this system that is so horrible for so many people seeking asylum and refuge from other countries. He is absolutely responsible for a lot of the ways this doesn't work on purpose for people, and then people are kept in these facilities that in a lot of cases are for profit, in a lot of cases were created under Obama and Biden's administration. So
I just keep wondering, what is Biden sending Kamala to do? She's going to call like the president of Mexico and be like, hey, I'm going to start jailing you guys if you don't get your cartels underway. Like, if you don't start making people not want to leave your country, then what is Kamala going to do? Go jail them? What the fuck is her plan?
She's going to wear the coolest shoes you've ever seen and do a photo op with the cartel leaders. Where she's smoking weed just like she did in college. But yeah.
I did read that Dr. Jill Biden was originally supposed to head the border crisis, but apparently that was just another exaggerated credential.
Oh, what?
Yeah, that's what they said about it. That was pretty good.
Wait, that she
was originally going to head the border crisis team instead of Kamala.
Yeah, what?
I would make no idea.
I mean,
the first lady does stuff, but not like that.
It makes just as little sense. No, it makes way more sense for Kamala to be doing it. She literally is a cage expert. So
right, she's gonna.
I don't understand what he's basically putting her, in a position to do, except for maybe fucking do some photo ops and talk about how we're trying to fix the problem of people coming here, which
she's going to start trying to clean up the crime in other countries so that people don't want to leave.
That's
literally what he's saying by saying she is the most qualified because of her record fighting organized crime and defending human rights.
So yeah,
what the fuck?
He's really saying, he's like,
we're about to go over and clean up.
Kamala's going to
criminals.
Arrest all the cartels.
Yes. That's all I can get from this. Nothing else makes sense.
Okay. Well.
So can't wait to see how that plays out.
Yeah, and also just the fact that Biden was talking so much about basically what we're gonna do for other countries to make sure people don't come here,
right?
And basically, and then saying pretty much nothing about how we're gonna fix the problem of dealing with people here. There are already people here. There's a ton of people with fucking tinfoil blankets in these facilities.
No, fuck them. Leave them there for now. We'll get back to them eventually. Let's go play with something else for a minute.
Not talking about how we're going to deal with that. Just being let's make sure more of them don't come. Not let's make sure there's a way for people to actually, be processed and integrated into our society in a way that's not dehumanizing and keeping people in little fucking rooms where they're packed together with tinfoil blankets. Like,
that's insane.
Even just the optics of that.
All those fucking kids.
Like, what? Just don't make it look like that. Like, the least you could do is don't make it look like that.
What's up with the tinfoil
Why are
blankets?
you
Like, we
doing
couldn't
that?
afford blankets?
I guess anybody that is, supportive of Biden, like these, like, just more neoliberal, like, centrist Democrats who, like, actually, think Biden and Harris are, like, some huge improvement from the Trump administration.
Like they're, like, saving grace. Like, thank God they're here now.
Like, yeah, a lot of those people really do think that, people are being too hard on them, and, like, this is, you guys just don't want to let them work to try to make things better. And I really cannot understand that reasoning at all. It's like, why not be critical of someone and try to make – these are the same problems that you were upset about, supposedly a couple years ago or a year ago under Trump.
Yeah.
And then now
it's got a new face.
Now it has a new face.
It doesn't talk as dirty.
Yeah, they're presenting it a little nicer, and these people are just like, well – they're doing the best they can. Just leave them alone. Have some respect for the office. They're,
I psychologically just want to know where that comes from. How do people get to that point?
Stockholm syndrome.
You think?
Yeah.
Dang.
They know that nothing better is ever going to happen, so they have to pretend like this is good, like this is an improvement. It's fucking not. They know it, but I don't know if they know it.
They have to know that they're not helping, though, by perpetuating that, though. Like, if they really cared, that can't be it. Because if they really did care like that, they would at least realize that is making it worse.
I don't know. If anybody listening knows anybody from the fucking K-Hive, we need to talk to one of these K-Hive people.
Please, stat.
I need to talk to one of these K-Hive people immediately. I don't know what the hell's going on, but
I will move whatever I have.
We are gonna end up on a K-Hive hit list within the fucking next few months,
please.
And it's gonna be sweet. It's gonna be a beautiful thing. I'm gonna be.
There's no higher honor.
No,
I got blocked by that girl.
Did
Did you see the Snapchat I sent you? There's a filter where you can have a crown of, like, someone else's picture, and just by accident it came up. You should look at it.
No.
I'm wearing a Shantae crown. I got canceled.
Wow.
By a K-Hive hitman.
Oh wow.
On Twitter.
She's the one who made the list.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
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 And all I did was simply retweet it and say I could only hope to be on a K-Hive hit list one day, which is true. It's the true feeling, and that apparently offended her very much. So, yikes.
Yep.
Well, related to deporting real quick, I did want to mention that I was on a Green Party call about foreign policy. It was actually pretty cool. And then someone's background who was speaking on Zoom was like, stop deporting veterans, something like that. And so I looked it up, and apparently there is a movement going on right now pleading Biden and Harris to honor their campaign promise to stop deporting undocumented U.S. veterans after their service. And so we were just talking a moment ago, how are these undocumented immigrants even allowed to join the military in the first place in the United States?
Well,
what is that?
Well, I mean, I definitely see it as this, like we were saying earlier, it's like, they're not going to not let anyone fucking join. Like, they need more just fucking
meat
bodies to go fight these fucking, pointless,
proxy
never-ending wars. Like, and also they, I would hope that, for someone undocumented, join the military might be a path for them to get citizenship faster, to get benefits.
And I think it's touted as that. But listen to what's happening, okay? So they're not doing that. They're still deporting them. And these are people that come back with, like, PTSD and service-related medical needs. And they are deported with this newfound mental illness that they did not have before serving in the military. This poor guy was sharing a story. He had 2 days worth of medication, nowhere to live or nowhere to continue his therapy, and he was just deported back across the border. Just that's it. And he's like newly like learning how to like cope with like all the things that like we have done to him being a service member, and he's just booted out. What the fuck is that? Why are they deporting them?
Just like
they were here.
Yeah, someone.
Nothing bad was happening.
Someone living here who's undocumented that we go, hey, we have an opportunity for you. Go and do this pointless
sacrifice
military
your life and health
action.
forever.
Like, go do this, and it's gonna be traumatizing. Like, you're probably not. It's not gonna be something that is probably fulfilling or good for you at all. But then, you know, it'll be good because it'll help you, you know, assimilate, or it'll help you get benefits. You know, I would assume that they get some kind of the actual like you know, the perks that make people fucking join the military in the first place. It's like no one does it because they want to. It's because you can get, you know, like fucking free school, like all of these benefits, and like do they not give that to undocumented people who've been in service?
Not only do they not give it to them, they boot them across the border. So no. So you're allowed to sign away your life basically and risk everything, but you can't vote. You can't receive social services. What are all the other things that they stop undocumented people from getting? Everything.
Yeah.
But hey, come serve our military. This is your country while you're in service, I guess. And after that.
So did you say that like they had explicitly made these promises during? Because it's you know,
because there's no other. Why else would they sign up?
No, I'm saying did Biden and Harris explicitly make these promises during the campaign that they would not be doing that? Because I mean, like, it seems kind of out of character for them to go back on a campaign promise. Am I right?
They couldn't do
They're
that.
pretty...
Not our girl and guy in blue.
I think Biden's pretty much, you know, he's done everything he said he would.
Wasn't his son in the military?
Yeah, the one who died was in the military.
Man,
he didn't die in the military.
So what kind of like respect our veterans attitude is that? Like, he's deporting people after their service.
Well, I mean, they're doing it still. They were doing it before.
He was apparently
they're continuing to do
stopping
it,
and now he's not.
Well, he talked about stopping it because he was on a campaign. I mean, he probably doesn't even remember it's happening or know what the fuck. I feel like a lot of times when we're having these conversations, we're giving Biden, like, too much agency. Like, this motherfucker's not doing that much. We know that, right? Like, this guy's he's not doing that much. He's, like, fucking drooling somewhere, and he's not.
But he has the power to do it, and that's the whole point.
Yeah.
The whole point is he's not taking advantage of.
Well, the whole point of having someone who has the power to do those things, but is mentally incapacitated.
I'm going to argue that because he is doing things like bombing Syria.
Okay.
He's doing plenty of stuff. It's just not what he said he would do.
But again, is that like,
or what anyone asked for?
Again, is that like him being like, you know, I have a good idea, or is it like? Is it like the entire?
He doesn't need Congress's,
or is it like the entire national security state and everyone who's around him being like, Biden, you need to sign this because we got to bomb Syria again, and he's like, oh goddamn, I don't know.
Man, I don't bomb Syria again.
But I'm just, I don't know. I just feel like some of the time we're probably giving him too much credit for like breathing and like signing things when like I really think that he's probably a lot more hands off than we think.
Well, I'm sure that's the way it is for most presidents, right? You know.
Yeah.
But they do sign up to be the brunt of all this, and
yeah. And he did give a press conference the other day. He talked for about an hour, and only had like a complete brain meltdown about like 5 times. So that's a lot better. That's a lot better than he had been doing.
I just found the Biden-Harris campaign promise about keeping our sacred obligation to our veterans. Just wanted to point out a few choice words here from his campaign. Protect undocumented members of our armed services, veterans, and their spouses from deportation. Because if you are willing to risk your life for this country, you and your family have earned the chance to live safe, healthy, and productive lives in America. Work with DOD and the Department of Homeland Security to provide timely naturalization for those who have served honorably in our military with an earned path to citizenship prior to the discharge or retirement. Lastly, protect and expand opportunities for people who risk their lives in military service. Biden will not target the men and women who served in uniform or their families for deportation. He will also direct the Secretary of Homeland Security to create a parole process for veterans deported by the Trump administration to reunite them with their families and military colleagues in the U.S. So just to reiterate, these were Biden's campaign promises. And yet, we have a movement currently pleading Biden-Harris to honor those promises as they continue to deport undocumented U.S. veterans.
Yeah. It's still fucking happening. Like, all these other things. Like, just exactly like all of the immigration stuff because
Oh, I love this.
his messaging about all of that was a lot different on the campaign trail, and now it's just like, look, man, we can't do anything, man. I don't know.
It's indicative of how people come here, whatever their jobs are, from other places, and they do contribute and they do provide for us, like all of our healthcare workers.
Exactly. Yeah, and then so like someone who comes here, serves in the military, and then is like, okay, that's it, that's enough. We got, thank you. I mean, we got
That's enough of you.
We got what we wanted out of you, and you're free to go now. Get out of here.
Joe Biden has fought aggressively for our service members and veterans throughout his career in public service. His record speaks for itself.
Mm-hmm.
He's always had their back.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Early advocate for Vietnam veterans, exposed to Agent Orange.
He really cares about our military and about our troops and, you know, about the well-being of our service members. And he's clearly showing that by refusing to fucking get out of Afghanistan. He's clearly showing that he cares so much about American service members in the military. Like,
do you think Trump did that at the end of his term specifically to set up Joe for a thing that he knew that people wouldn't want to
you know what? If he did, it's genius.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's really smart.
But honestly, no, I don't even think so. I think that
you still think it was just a popular
I
thing?
think, yeah, and honestly, I think that, like, Trump just knew where, like, I feel like where the sentiment is for that, even on his, like, far-right base, like, they still fucking know that, like, these are unpopular wars.
Yeah.
People think this is stupid that we're still in Afghanistan. Like, no one wants to be there. No ordinary person you talk to would be like, yeah, I mean, like, you know, we gotta keep being in Afghanistan. Like, so the fact that he's now saying, you know, because context of this is that Trump had set up with the Taliban, had talks with them, had set up a date for us to withdraw troops from Afghanistan, and essentially that was going to be in May, right?
Right.
And now Biden is saying, oh, that's too short of a timeline. We're not going to be able to do that. I don't know, buddy. We gotta. You know, we can't leave them hanging, man. We gotta stay forever. So, yeah, basically, he seems like the only thing that he's gonna change about foreign policy at all, like under his administration, is just some of the messaging. You know, and try to make it seem like things are done for more humanitarian reasons.
Just like migrants and overflow facilities.
Yeah, it's really just changing, you know, the messaging on it. But it's going to be the same policies. It might even be worse in a couple different ways, in a couple key ways, because they're going to get away with it in a way that Trump wouldn't have been able to.
We know that's absolutely worse. That's just like a common Democratic thing. It's like,
well, it's just because
you garner more consent and support for like the same horrible things.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And like there was not a lot of outcry about like Libya, Syria. Those things both started during the administration that Biden was vice president in, and like, yeah, people kind of let that happen without much pushback. Even from like, you know, whatever is a relatively small anti-war movement now, I don't think there was enough public, you know, backlash to any of that they felt like it mattered or it matters anymore what we do overseas. I think that they think, you know, as Democrats, they can manufacture consent for any conflict because why not? Like, you know, they talk a better game about it. Like, you know, they're not so careless in the way they depict it, and like because they think that they
justify it and try to rationalize it to make it make sense, right? Yeah. For reasons that aren't true.
Yeah, definitely. So it's obviously disappointing, but I really would not expect much else from the Biden administration.
And that's the whole point. Is this is a cycle that continues and goes on, and
like. In all the different ways people thought he was the lesser evil, I always knew that was never going to be one of them. Foreign policy was absolutely not
for Biden.
Yeah. But anyways, hopefully we can have a longer conversation about foreign policy when we have a guest on.
We have some really cool foreign policy experts. They're just our friends who are very well educated and very passionate about unearthing kind of the truth behind a lot of the U.S. foreign policy that we've seen. But that's going to be really exciting.
Yeah. shout out to Bessemer.
Shout out to.
We are on the edge of our seats for this union vote.
Oh, I want it to be in so bad.
But I think by next week we'll have. Maybe
An answer.
I wonder if this will be out by the time.
Well, that depends on you and I, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
we'll
you
do
and
it.
me.
We'll
you and
do
me.
it.
So, do you think anyone will try to claim election fraud in the Bessemer vote for a union?
Well, they are using Dominion voting machines
So
For-
chances
for
are
the
high.
for the union election.
Did they not watch Mike? What's his name's documentary?
Mike Lindell.
Yeah, my
Um,
pillow guru.
I guess they didn't watch it.
He had fabricated charts, dude. That was pretty legit.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. They all said at the bottom, like, these are probably not even right.
Yes.
Like, and then-
It's like none of this data has been backed up.
yeah. But it was, that was boring anyways. I thought it'd be funny. But it
Me
wasn't even
too. It
funny.
wasn't. It sucked.
Yeah, just like, honestly, I was going to say just like the Biden press conference, but then actually I remembered, no, that actually was funny at least a couple times. I thought actually, just to start out with, I thought it was funny that he, unlike Trump's press briefings, even last year or any other press briefings really I've ever seen, he didn't just like, point at reporters and go like, okay, you, like, he had like a list of people who
Like
were
pre-approved questions
people
and
were
answers
gonna
and
ask
people he
him.
was gonna call on.
and he just went down the list and was like, okay, now this person, you asked me.
So
I was
honestly,
like, what the fuck?
I'm still gonna count that as he has not addressed or had a Q&A as a president yet, because that doesn't count. That you scripted all of your questions and answers. I'm sorry, but that's not.
I don't know if it was because there
were some pretty good questions.
There were still
so-
ones that were I was like, ooh, he doesn't like that question. You know what I mean? But he handled it very Biden.
predictably.
Yeah. Yeah. He didn't like challenge anyone to like a pull-up contest or anything, which is like usually what he does when he gets mad at someone who asks him a question. He wasn't like, hey, Jack, I could run 7 laps around you and you'd be dizzy by Sunday or whatever, But but he did get into some pretty cool Bidenisms, I will say. One of which, like my favorite actually, is when he was, I think he was speaking about a voter suppression bill, that was being looked at. It was like, I think that's what it was. He's talking about like some voter suppression bill, and he basically, the line was, it makes Jim Crow look like Jim Eagle.
Oh, I forgot about that.
And it was so awesome. Like I just
like, oops.
and then I kept thinking like Jim Eagle's got to be like a person that I just don't know
I'm
about.
gonna look it up right now while you're going.
But then I actually don't think so.
I don't think
I
so
think
either.
I think the thing is that
like eagle, like freedom,
like an eagle, like yeah,
like "Brah," like America.
Eagles baka.
I don't know. I bet you've never seen one.
I bet they don't
Bet
sound
you've
like
never
that though.
seen one or heard one.
They're supposed to be cool. They're supposed to represent justice
sure they
and
do go,
imperialism.
"Ah."
They don't go.
I'm
They gotta
looking
do.
that up
They gotta
next.
go.
Eagle sound. Just wait a second.
It's gotta be cool.
No, I'm telling you what it is.
Okay, well.
Call of a bald eagle.
Anyways, I'm more interested in if
No, we're doing
if
this.
Jim Eagle is anything, but well, we were both real wrong.
Man, we suck. We don't deserve a podcast.
We don't know anything about America.
We deserve to be deported. Isn't this on like the
Yeah.
naturalization test?
Yeah, they just like it probably is honestly, or if anybody can guess what a bald eagle sounds like, then you can skip. You can skip
get
the
one,
immigration
you
process
get one
entirely.
free month of our Patreon if you can call in with the sound of a accurate bald eagle.
Yeah, that's true.
The first thing when I Google Jim Eagle is President Jim Eagle with a picture of Biden.
No, yeah, I don't think it's a real thing.
Do you want me to click on who is Jim Eagle? Biden's Jim Crow analogy explained.
Sure, click on it.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure I already know what it is. It's just him being like an eagle instead of like a crow, which is like I guess a bad bird. Who is he to say what birds are good or bad?
What is he, the president or something?
What does he know about bird law?
Would you challenge Biden on bird law?
Yeah.
He's kind of old and like bird watchy-y. You know what I mean?
He might do bird. He might
do birds.
He might do birds. He might bird watch. I don't know.
He might do birds.
He did like also a couple times during the press briefing, like just start a sentence and then just like talk until he couldn't keep going anymore, and just like would go, forget it, man. I don't know. Anyways, like,
yeah, that happened a lot.
yeah.
I
think I do that too.
So you're.
I don't judge him for it. That's it. You know what? And if you do, that's fucking ableist of you. You fucking sick. You sick fucking piece of shit.
Scum.
Don't ever make fun of our old decrepit fucking sundowning president ever again.
All right.
Because that could be you one day. And it probably is you, honestly, if you're listening to this.
Why? You think the only people listening are like...
I looked at the fucking demographics on our Anchor.
I told you they weren't accurate.
No, it says it's mostly people over 70.
I know for a fact my mom and my aunt
Mostly,
listen to this.
it's mostly people
They are
over
not
70. But then, yeah, also, there was a good amount of, in the briefing, just him not answering questions well, I thought, at least, deflecting and just, like, being generally, like, you know, elusive, like talking like around questions that were asked to him.
Yeah, that's what presidents and specifically Biden does. Like,
yeah, but he doesn't just like talk around a question. He like talks up and down and all inside it,
outside.
and then stumbles over it and
does
like
a little
fucking
do-si-do with it.
Yeah, and then he asks,
like, oh, now you're too busy to ask me again. So
Exactly.
Moving on.
Yeah, it was pretty ridiculous. I just hope he does a lot more of them.